Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and our non-binary friends, welcome to episode 18 of Tabletop Tuesday, the show where Dan and I ostensibly...
Just keeps going and going.
Season 2 is significantly longer than Season 1. Ostensibly, we're building kill teams for a big game that we're going to play in March. And also discuss other things around tabletop gaming for the No Games for Old Men YouTube channel. I myself am Curtis. This himself is Dan. And how are you doing, Dan? What are you drinking today?
Today, I have a Puerto Rican beer.
Oh, neat!
Estrella Galicia.
I've never tried that. How is it?
I've never tried it either. I was at the bottle shop last night, picking up a couple of bottles of wine for my bride, and they got a bunch of new beers in, so I thought I would try one of these out.
Have you tasted it?
I have not yet.
Please do.
I poured it into a glass, so it's a very clear, like, lager color.
A little darker than what I would expect from like a Pacifico though, or a Corona.
Yeah. It's a little more orange than that. So, and there's definitely a slightly sweet, like almost fruity scent to it.
Neat.
That I can't quite identify, but let me see if I can taste it. That's nice. That is very light and refreshing. Not at all appropriate for the day we're having. For the weather. A friend of mine recently posted on Instagram stories that it was snowing where her office is, which is about a mile down the road from me.
Okay.
I didn't get any here. I got hail.
Okay.
Like big chunks of hail, but no snow. So I'm wondering if they were just misinterpreting what they were seeing falling from the sky.
I mean, frozen water falling from the sky in Southern California, period, is always kind of remarkable. The fact that there are blizzard warnings going down all the way to San Diego kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really preferred it when I could be like, check out my weather up north. But now,
it's not so special anymore.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Not so special anymore.
Yeah.
Now it is very windy. Very windy. So.
Okay.
Anyway.
So what you've got is a poolside beer in a winter storm.
And not at all. Yes, that is correct. Not appropriate for the weather at all. But it is quite nice. So what do you have?
I'm a disappointment this week. I have a very... No, not even Spindrift. I ate something that did not agree with me in any way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh.
And so I am on the bland diet right now, just trying to get everything equalized. So I'm just hydrating.
Just water? Okay.
So much hydration.
Yeah.
This will be my fourth cup of water today, and these are 16-ounce glasses.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
I've had a nervous, upset stomach all day long today, too. So, sorry. I understand how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Abdominally.
Yeah, it's, I tell you, my birthday is tomorrow as of time of recording, and I wasn't ready for 46 to be like, it just all breaks at once. Yeah. So far, I've gotten away without the lower back pain, without a lot of the issues that folks past 35 have, other than my metabolism significantly slowing down. But man, I tell you, got to the tail end of 45, and then all of a sudden they were just like, we're pulling the chair up from under you. It's oof.
Welcome.
Thank you. Normally
the second half of your life.
That's making a pretty big assumption with American healthcare, is what that's doing. Normally this is when I would ask how our weeks have been, but I don't have much to share. Did you have anything going on this week?
Just a new leak in the bedroom 2 weeks after the new ceiling got put in. So, just that.
Ah,
That's
hard
all.
times all over.
Just that.
Well, I'll tell
I
you
also
what.
finished watching season 3 of the OC, and don't talk to me about it.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
I realized that I don't think I have ever seen that far into the show. I know I saw season 1, and I stopped remembering episodes partway through season 2.
What
So
year was that?
I don't think I saw it. Early 2000s, like 2003 to 6, I want to say, is when the show ran.
Okay.
Maybe 2003 to 7. The kids are the class of 2006, and then there's a season after in their first college days. So
Got it.
Which
Yeah,
is
that was
2007.
in the time before.
There's
That
no
was when
reason.
TiVos and things were still relatively new.
Yeah. TiVo. Is that still around? I don't even know.
I think it got bought up and incorporated into other things because all their proprietary technology ended up just being put in cable top boxes. So, I don't know.
Well, anyway, this is not Cord Cutters with Tom Merritt and Brian Brushwood. This is Tabletop Tuesday with Dan and Curtis the Betrayer. So, let's continue with our show.
Weekly progress it is. So, Betrayer, huh? Is it because I
Oh yeah.
failed
Oh yeah.
to acknowledge my zero accomplishments for the week, but definitely put a hat on yours?
Oh, I mean that's part of it, but just the fact that you. I did not say I was going to be providing photos, A/B comparisons for the week.
It was implied.
I said I wanted to do that. It would be part of my process in the future to see how well I'm doing with the magnifier. That's all.
So is that mean that we have those this week?
That's all I was saying. No. No. What part of my bedroom ceiling is leaking again? Do you not understand?
You don't paint in your bedroom, and I don't think you're in there with like spackle going, oh geez,
But
there we
when the
go.
bedroom has to be ripped apart again to have a new listen to me.
Did they have you
No,
take
I did
everything
not
out
have I did not have new progress photos because it's a very slow process me learning how to use this magnifier and to paint with the magnifier because it's such fine detail. I feel like, and I'm going very slowly with it because it's so what's the word?
Cognitive decline.
The spatial, the recognizing
Depth perception?
depth perception is the word that I'm trying to come up with. It's disorienting still. So
I'd be interested to see how you're approaching this because I realized like after we spoke last week, you were like, how close do you get? Because I talked about getting nose prints on my thing.
Yep.
And like I actually do get like this close. So
Yes.
I'm like this. Is that kind of how you're
About.
at too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then if it's really small, then I'm like
Right.
that helps. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and then
help.
boop.
It doesn't help at all. But it's just
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All
like
right.
it's like when you turn the radio down in your car so you can read street signs.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually does have a cognitive function, but that's not neither here nor there. So do you have any progress to report for your week?
No, not I mean, I just answered that. It's not. There's nothing substantial because it's all the work I'm doing is so tiny that it doesn't feel like I've done anything.
Okay. All right. All right. I can dig it.
I don't know,
Would you like to see
It's
my
a learning
weekly
process.
progress?
I absolutely would. Yes, please.
Well, I am pleased to say that for the first time in a long time, we have a slideshow. Pow! So this is the first character that has been completed. Now,
Okay.
I will admit, after I took these pictures and I saw the face, I was like, the face isn't as dynamic in pictures as I would like it to be. So I
Oh,
did do some more to the face to give it a little bit more color and contrast. So
okay.
forgive me for not having a picture of that, but I added a little bit more like red to the cheeks,
Mm.
and then there's the lip has a more defined color to it.
Mm.
So actually, she's right here. So I don't know if you can see her all that well, but
Not at all,
not at
because
all.
when I'm looking
No.
at a screen at a slideshow,
Yeah,
your
you know what?
camera is a
Let me
postage
stop
stamp in the
this real
corner.
quick.
So.
Boop. So you can kind of see she's got more going on now.
A
The lip is
little
more
bit.
defined and everything.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So there's that. But forgiving the face. Let me try this again. Boop. Okay. So um uh already gotten approval from Ian. He loves the magic capes. I'm very excited to show you the back end of that.
Hmm.
So we've got the magical medallion made of the bones of their enemies with a magic sigil.
Wow.
Blades. There is a purple tint that I added to the metal of these blades. That's very difficult to see in the pictures.
Mm.
Um, and then uh, and then here we can see the cape going into itself, going from magic into material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do? Oh, sorry. I see.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. 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 And then we've got just another side view. The metal knees. Like basically, I wanted to make sure that it had
How is that practical?
light, light, light
Uh huh.
as the triangle for where your eye is supposed to go.
Okay.
And then it's got that one key point right there in the center, so it's kind of we can guide everything around.
Yeah.
Kind of draws away from the face, but I don't think that's a problem because hood wearer, so they don't want you to see the face that much anyway.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
So yeah, so that
Very
that
cool.
is the primary character. Now,
It all looks almost like an ocean wave.
right? Yeah,
The cape.
I'm glad you see that. Yes. Yes. And I made some texture in there too, so it's like it looks like it moves a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
There were some folks who
Very
reached
cool.
out to me privately about not being able to get a good look at the individual foot soldiers for the rest of this war band. So
Oh, really?
we got some glamour shots. There he is. This one's got his head down.
Some
Yeah.
some folks.
And then we got some of this.
Very cool.
They all look pretty much the same. They're pretty close to identical. They've all got their blue flame magic bows.
Mm-hmm. That also looks like water.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like they have water bows or something. It looks cool.
Thank you.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that was your intent,
I
but
wanted some kind of ethereal fire. I wanted it to look cold. So yeah. Yeah, water bow works.
well, that's a good color choice then.
Cuz they're shadow elves, so it can't be bright. It needs to be like, ooh, it's coming from the depths of hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's
And
that?
then
Wait.
here, which
Okay.
one? What was
The
it?
one that one.
Yeah.
What's in his right hand?
His bow
Oh, okay.
is just swinging
Okay.
back cuz he's
Oh,
carrying the
got it.
sword
Okay.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see the other half of it that swings out behind him. It looked like it was some kind of a wicked cudgel or something.
Right. Well, you can use a well-made bow as a cudgel if you really want to.
Okay.
This is the character that I'm working on right now,
Nice.
and he's almost done too. Just got to get a couple last things done on him,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's his cape. So far, there's some more transition work to be worked in there, but
Okay.
this is like the in between phase. This is what it looks like when it's only got a couple colors on
How are
it.
you doing that? Are you wet blending or what's your technique?
I am terrible at wet blending. So what we've got here is contrast achromatic blue, which is typically used for ghosts. And then on that, I use some of the old shades, Drakenhof Nightshade and Druchii Violet, to ease into these colors, and then it goes into the colors. Then I used a purple as a base on all of the hard uh, material, and then I highlight with the colors that I used on the rest of the foot soldiers, so that all combines back together with the colors that we use for that. So the colors of the army.
Great.
Yeah, just
I
a
like
little.
the gauntlets on
Thank
this
you.
one. They
Yeah,
look,
that is leather contrast paint.
yeah, that looks good.
So yeah, it's I really like the fact that I was able to use contrast paints to really help speed up the process. There is a technique that for contrast paint, and I think that there are lots of different ways to use them. I have appreciated them for just how fast they are, just how
Mm-hmm.
quick. Because even like, oh wait, yeah, I gotta go all the way back up.
Ah,
The
ah.
handles, the knife handles on here, that's just contrast paint, but it looks so distinct. It really does a good job of
Yeah,
cleaning that stuff up.
that looks like multiple different shades of painting that you put
Right?
on there, but you just did a coat of contrast paint?
That's it.
That's
That's it.
impressive. I do not yet own any speed paint from my Armor Painter line, but I I feel like I need to.
That stuff is cool. It's got some neat extra abilities too. Although I haven't tried the new formulation, but
Hmm.
this is the cape for one of the other characters, also in progress.
Very cool.
And then this is the leader. I've gotten some work done here, but as you can see, there's still so much to do. I'm just
Hmm.
wrapping up the other ones first. But
Right.
that cape is in. Whoo. See, we've got lots of magic bump there.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that the bottom of the cape was actually separated. So the
Yeah.
magical energy is separating from the cape and is just attached to the bottom foot. It's an interesting sculpt.
Seeing this is what made me think it shouldn't be all one piece. It should be forming itself out of etheric energy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was the original idea, and then I just applied it to the rest of the characters.
Yep.
But what I'm really happy about is how the ground turned out, the bases.
That skull looks amazing.
Thank you, thank you. It ended up being super simple. I
Really?
used Skaven Blight Dinge contrast or Rattling Grime contrast paint as the base, and then just picked out the extras with some dry brushing of some different colors. You would never know
Wow.
that these were all the same color.
Nope.
They all started the same color, and then they got differentiated like this.
Sure would not have guessed that. Yeah, another crack. The crack in the top of the skull is really visible. I find that hard to do myself personally
Mm,
to do that.
mm.
So I need to. That's the kind of fine detail that I'm hoping the magnifier will assist me with.
Again,
In even
it's
seeing them on the model, sometimes I don't even see that detail because I can't see that closely. So, but hopefully the
yeah.
mag will help.
That actually, I was having the same issue with the armband the on this character. This armband right here
Uh
has a
huh.
little snake that goes across the top,
Oh, neat.
and it's really difficult to see. Here's a better angle on it. I can see it through here, but when you're just looking at it primed, unpainted, it's like, oh fuck, is it a squiggle? What's going on here? So yeah,
Yeah. Is it wrought iron or
yeah,
hard to identify specifically as a snake? Then.
yeah, yeah. And I think in the end, uh, it it actually looks better from 3 feet away, so it looks really good on a table.
Right. Yep.
But there you go. So yeah,
I
so
know how that feels. Very cool.
that is my progress,
Well
and
done.
I'm very excited to I've only got a couple weeks now to be able to actually get some walls together for our game before we leave the
Uh,
state, and I am really I feel like every time I say I'm going to get these guys done, I find extra details where I'm like, well, it wouldn't be that hard, would it? And then I add like a week onto my time. So I'm really
you know,
desperate to get these guys finished because I would like to get them in the mail.
hmm.
But otherwise, I'm just hand delivering them to Ian and just being like, here you go. But
Oh,
uh, yeah, so the plan is to just get them done as quick as possible. Yes. Yes.
so you can move on
Yes.
to something else.
Do you have any goals for next week?
I feel like I need to give myself a goal just so that I can force myself to make some real progress here.
Mm, mm, that's fair.
But
Bearing in mind, I think next week is our last recording
oh yeah, okay.
because then we
Well
leave
then
the
I
next
guess I
week
have
that
to
we would
finish.
record. Yeah. So this is the second to last episode before we play.
Okay, well
Yeah.
then getting as close to finished is what I'm gonna have to do. Oh, boy, I'm gonna have to really set some other responsibilities and or hobby time aside in lieu of some more painting. Oh, brother.
I know. I know. Time when crunch time comes. I'm really
Yes.
hoping that I have walls to show off next week. I'm really hoping that yeah, cuz yeah, otherwise it'll be like here are these walls that I just cut off the sprue that we're going to play with.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I should also probably study the rules for my kill team again.
Yeah, I should do that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and just for the game in general, since the last time I played it was, when were you here? February? No, it was
January. January.
last.
We didn't play while I was here, did we?
Right. No, I
In
mean when we
January.
played, that was last
Yeah.
July, June.
That was the last. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't played since then. So I'm
We
sure
got
I
some
don't
work to do.
remember anything. Yeah.
Okay. Well then that was our weekly progress. Dan,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really excited that we're getting into the home stretch of season 2 here.
Ah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really neat to actually like be at the table, be ready, do some things, see some stuff.
Yeah.
I think we learned a lot from last time's recording. I think I've got a better idea about how we can present this little campaign of games
Okay.
for the final episode of season 2. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. But as excited I am about that, we should probably talk about other tabletop things.
No games for old men.
There's this whole D&D movie coming out.
I guess.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Something about the Rogue
uh,
Flyer or something.
Isn't it Honor Among Thieves?
That is the one. It is
Okay.
indeed. Yes.
What's the Rogue Flyer?
It was the thing that came to my head instead of the actual title.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought
And
maybe it
so,
was a MacGuffin. Was it the MacGuffin of the movie or something?
Lord, I have no idea. All
Okay.
I know is what I saw from the original teaser trailer, which caused D&D like toxic fandom to be like, you can't turn into an owl bear. And then I was like, I can't. I'm just not. I'm gonna wait. And then and and then the OGL stuff happened, and then everybody was like, don't go to the movie. Um and so the fact of the matter is, Entertainment One, which is a division of Hasbro, or maybe vice versa. They are synergistic. They are the same company. They are owned by the same people. who is producing the film, is really pushing so hard to get this movie out there right now. It feels irresponsible to not talk about it on a show that talks about tabletop gaming,
Okay.
especially since we have been Dungeons and Dragons players for so long. And we
Yep.
also saw a movie that doesn't exist in the early, what was it, the late 90s when they tried this
Was it?
before.
I think it was the early 2000s.
It was.
We saw it in Burbank. So
Yeah.
some of us were up here and we had moved away from Orange County already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll tell you what. Let's
And
take
that
a
theater
look
isn't even there
real
anymore.
quick.
That theater and parking lot have been rebuilt into something else.
It was the year 2000 when Dungeons and Dragons the movie was released
Wow.
with Thora Birch, Jeremy Irons, Marlon Wayans, and a couple other folks.
A couple other folks. Doesn't even mention the name, the main actor.
Lee
lead.
Arenberg? Is that him?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. But I've also
you've
tried to
blocked
put this
that
thing
out of your
my...
memory.
Yeah, here's the thing I remember about the original Dungeons and Dragons movie. Leading up to it, everybody talked about how this first-time director was a big fan of the game, and they gave him an opportunity to make this movie. And we watched it, and it was not good. And I say that as a person who really likes to find enjoyment in things no matter what.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate bad movies for being bad. I have made bad movies. As much as I try to find the good in bad things, the best thing I have to say about Dungeons and Dragons from 2000 is that once we left the theater, it made me laugh for 20 minutes straight at how bad it was.
Our post-film discussion was probably better than the movie.
Yes. Yes. And I do remember very distinctly at the end of the movie, the hero is at Marlon Wayans' grave and says,
Spoilers for the 2000 Dungeons and Dragons
I
film,
promise
everybody.
you, it spoils nothing. If anything, I'm saving you an hour and a half of your time.
Yeah.
He says, I'm a hero. Can you believe it? And a guy in the back went, barely.
That was the best part of the movie right there. Barely.
Now, that director did go on to make 2 sequels that were better.
Really?
Yes,
They
lower
were
budget for sure, but definitely had the spirit of Dungeons and Dragons so much more.
Are these the animated ones?
No, they're live action still.
Oh.
Yeah. And in fact, of the 3 that he made, the one that is my favorite is the second one, which is called The Wrath of the Dragon God. And
I thought I've heard of that one, and I totally thought that was an animated movie.
Oh no!
How weird.
It's live action. It has
Really?
a cleric that does actual things, and a barbarian woman, and it's I mean it's a lower budget film. It looks very much like Xena Warrior Princess style stuff, and
That's all right.
but
Wrath of
it
the
was a
Dragon.
lot more fun. It was a lot more fun.
2005. Oh, it's not streaming anywhere.
No, it was on Sci-Fi for a really long time. That's how I saw it.
This is a different director.
Different director, but Courtney Solomon, who was the original director, was a producer on the second one.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to direct anymore. People are mean.
People are yelling at me.
That one guy at the Burbank AMC heckled my movie from the back row. Barely. that broke up the theater.
It
I mean,
did.
that was one of those moments where literally everyone in the theater was thinking the same thing, and this guy just said it, and
Everybody laughed.
everyone exploded in laughter. Oh, you feel bad about that kind of thing because everybody on that movie wanted to make a really kick-ass Dungeons and Dragons movie. The story just
This didn't work.
didn't. Yeah.
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 And that's why I really like to try and find the good in things, because nobody sets out to make a bad movie. Nobody
Right.
does.
Right.
You may set out to make a campy movie. You may
Sure.
set out to make a satirical movie, but nobody ever wants to make anything bad. And sometimes
It's just legitimately hot garbage. Yeah.
yeah,
No one's doing that.
no. And so and having been in
Velocipaster
that
says hi.
situation. What? Velocipaster.
Velocipaster says hi. By
But
the
again,
way. I love Velocipaster. That's
Yes.
an amazing, like, low budget, goofy, campy movie. That's the kind of, and the filmmakers knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. And there are some real tongue-in-cheek moments in there, like missing special effects.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to
Yes.
say any more because if most people probably have not seen it, but hopefully they will watch it because it is worth seeing. But yeah, it's a good time.
Velocipaster is a good time, and I
Very
think
much
it's
a good
streaming on Amazon Prime. Yeah,
That's how I saw it.
yeah.
But
I think it's actually an
ago.
Amazon Prime movie.
Really?
Yeah,
An Amazon Prime original. I'll look it up while you talk.
but all that to say, after Dungeons and Dragons did not do so well, and then the two lower budget sequels, we are now getting the first in a long time of a big budget Dungeons and Dragons movie, which to me so far looks very much like it is in the vein of how people actually play 5th edition. It in the clips that I have seen, it looks fun, funny, light, but there's still like we're fighting monsters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any thoughts on that? Has it tickled your imagination or gotten you interested at all?
I am interested in seeing it. I don't know anything about it though, other than Chris Pine is in it because I don't. I've probably mentioned this before. I don't watch movie trailers. I avoid them because I don't want anything spoiled for me. I want to go in completely blind and have a totally fresh experience with a film. So I will probably see it. There's a almost 0% chance I will see it in the theater though.
Right.
It will probably be something that when it comes out on one of the streaming services, I will watch it there.
That is where I am at as well. Although there is a particular scene that is making the rounds on YouTube and TikTok and everything, because they're releasing 1-minute clips because that's what you do to promote a movie now. Where they use "Talk to Dead," and Dan, honest to God, we had that exact same experience that they have in the movie. I will let you discover it on your own for those of you who have seen the clip.
Okay.
That happened exactly with our little D&D group.
Well, doggone it. Now I feel like I have to go see it right away because I want to know what you're talking about.
It's a really funny encounter. And
Did they say "not my fault, sinner"?
No.
No. Okay.
Although if somebody did that, I would definitely sue, because that
We need to write our own Dungeons and Dragons movie. Basically was.
if this one does well, I bet Entertainment One will be ready to pick it up. More to the point, because I know, nobody's seen the movie yet. There isn't much to talk about there. But how do you feel when companies turn IP like this into a movie or TV show? Does it excite you? Does it? We're looking at Games Workshop selling the rights to Amazon and working with Henry Cavill to do a television or film projects.
Right.
Magic the Gathering has been trying to get turned into something more than just a game. And then the trials and tribulations that video games have getting turned into entertainment products is long known. And everybody's waiting for. So far, The Last of Us is the only one to break the curse as far as being turned into something that people have enjoyed watching universally.
That is also very faithful to the story presented in the game. There are
Right.
other video game adaptations that basically just take the name and the basic concept,
Mhm.
but create a completely new story with it. I'm thinking of like Resident Evil.
Or
That-
Street Fighter.
The first, I didn't see. Are you talking about the new Street Fighter?
I'm talking about original Street Fighter starring Raul
Jean-Claude-
Julia and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay, right.
And Kylie Minogue.
Wow. I don't remember
Kylie
anything
Minogue was
about that
Cammy.
movie. I don't remember anything about that movie. But that's what I'm thinking of, is
Yeah.
that they will basically take the name and do something completely different with the story. And sometimes that works. Most of the time it still doesn't.
Mm.
But, they gave it a try. It is difficult to... All right, your question was, how do I feel about IP like that being converted into another format?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for me to crawl into something like a fanboy hole and say, no, this you're diluting it, or it's not pure anymore. It's not the board game that I love. Thinking like the Battleship movie.
Oh, right.
If you remember that. I haven't seen the Battleship movie, but I know it wasn't very well received. It has
I saw
its
it
fans.
on Sci-Fi. I saw it on Sci-Fi, and I did not like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are times when the concern ends up being very much warranted.
Super Mario Brothers.
But we'll see about that.
I mean
I'm
the
curious.
original.
Oh
with Bob
God!
Hoskins.
With Bob Hoskins, who didn't even know what Super Mario Brothers was. He had no idea. It was like his niece or his daughter or somebody said this. Showed him the game. He was like, "This is what you're about to be," and he was like, "What the fuck is that?" He thought it was just some story that somebody wrote, but nope,
Yeah.
it's based on a video game, Bob. Anyhow, excuse my language. I think I used the F word in there.
That's fine.
So the other side of the coin, though, is that experience can draw in new fans.
Right.
You might not be a Cyberpunk 2020 player with your tabletop role-playing game group, but if you happened to watch the Netflix Edge Runners series, or you played the Cyberpunk 2077 video game by CD Projekt Red, and you enjoyed those, that might get you to try the game. And vice versa. So it is a valid way of attracting new audience, new players. So, unfortunately, the translation is so often really fumbled that it has the opposite effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so many of us who are fans of certain products get very scared when someone says, we're making this into a movie, TV show, video game, something, when we're like, no, you're going to ruin it, because so often they do.
The Last of Us notwithstanding, because feel like that's pretty universally well liked.
I
Is
have,
there
yeah.
is there any particular film or TV show that was based on an IP that wasn't originally a film or TV show that you have really enjoyed, that you've been like, oh, they got it, man, they got it?
Is it cheating to say something like The Lord of the Rings, Peter
It is
Jackson's
not.
trilogy?
It is not.
Because while there were some pretty vast differences between the film trilogy and the novel, I mean, it was novel. It was originally published as one book. I think Jackson nailed it. The Hobbit, not so much. That one was overwrought and not necessary. Didn't need to be 3 movies. That's a single movie book. So I kind of feel more recently though. I know a lot of people crapped on it, but I really like The Witcher TV series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
I thought Cavill did a great job. I thought Anya Chalotra?
The one who plays Yennefer?
Yes. I thought she was fantastic. She did a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of blanking right now on other things because those are the ones that are so fresh in my mind.
That's fair though, because I think that's a big part of this, right? Is sometimes they're not memorable.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I think that the for The Witcher specifically, most people's first experience was the video games.
Mm-hmm.
It was a series of novels from Poland that hadn't even been published in the United States. And then the first game, while it was a little clunky, it was still a really cool idea. It's like you're a fantasy Jedi, basically.
Right.
and it had its fans. And that is what inspired, I think, a resurgence in interest in the publication. Wow, that was a weird way to say that. The published novels. And so more people have read the novels now because of their experience with the video game trilogy. So, again, I was, and that's just the flip of what I was saying before of finding new audiences. The books found an audience because of the games, whereas sometimes it's the other way around.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. For me, I will also start with something geeky that didn't seem like it could be made into a movie or anything else. And that was when Iron Man came out in 2008. Because before 2000 really, before we got the original Spider-Man movies, the Raimi movies, and X-Men, superhero movies did the same thing they used to do with video game movies, where they would take the name and not really pay attention to the source material at all. Like, one of the biggest offenders was the Punisher movie with Dolph Lundgren, where, yes, he was still a vigilante, but it was really just a Dolph Lundgren movie that had the Punisher name. It had nothing to do with anything else. Instead of having like the suit and everything with the skull on his thing, his calling card was that he would like kill people with knives that had the Punisher death head on it. Like, it was just very different. It was very different. And then Iron Man came out and it was like, oh, a dude in a suit can actually look like it's real. How awesome. My favorite character is now a viable multimedia project. But when it comes to gaming,
it kicked off a tidal wave.
Right? Yeah, and we're still sitting in superhero La La Land.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're in phase 5 of that.
We're a decade and a half in.
No end in sight.
But for games, I think one of the things that I was most impressed with that Games Workshop is still finding a way to kind of grind down was when Astartes, the CGI short films, managed to blow up virally on YouTube. Because while it wasn't made officially by Games Workshop, it was somebody who had a real love of the material and
Yeah.
made a very authentic version of Space Marine fights, which are not even necessarily portrayed the same way across the official licensed material that's generated. Like they tell you in the codexes, they're superhuman, hypno indoctrinated, uh, metahuman. Like they don't fight like normal people and they don't act like normal people. Meanwhile, in the books, they're like Shakespearean in the brother, no, and like the bolters become a sideline. Um, and I say that as somebody who really enjoys many of the books that include Space Marines, but I didn't see a Space Marine fight really until Astartes. That's when it was squad-based combat. You didn't have to hear them talk because they keep all that stuff insular, and they were effective, fast, and dangerous. It
Yeah.
looked like what you always told me Space Marines were supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I haven't really. I think it will be very difficult for anyone to be able to do grimdark 40K as well as the creator of Astartes did.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how well that will go. Even Games Workshop's official animations, they're very surface level. They don't get much deeper. There isn't there we're not a whole lot of themes and stuff like that. It's what I would have written, and this is not disparaging. It may sound that way, but I don't intend it to be. It A lot of their material plays very much like the fantasies I had in my head as a 14-year-old of like what a hero being or like Sergeant Ventros would be doing in the 40K world. You know what I mean? It's a lot of gunfights, it's a lot of running around. It's not necessarily a deeper story. So I'm very hopeful that Henry Cavill's got some strong ideas and will be a good warden for all of this, but I've got my concerns. I've got my concerns.
Sure. Yeah. He is a massive fan of the franchise, and I think he probably feels an incredible amount of pressure to not screw it up. But he's not the only one working on it. So,
Yeah.
you wonder how the projects that go so poorly, who is responsible for that? When you get somebody who is on the project who, I'm not going to name one specifically, but when you get someone who's on a project that is a real fan of it,
The Witcher.
but then the project just goes so poorly, the end result is way off base, either tonally or visually or narratively, whatever. How does that even happen? Like, what studio head who knows nothing about the product watched a cut and said, here are my notes?
That's a real concern. There was a guy at Fox who was famous for getting in the way of stuff for the X-Men movies, especially. He had a certain amount of derision for the property, even though it made them billions of dollars. And is part of the reason why we had Silent Deadpool in that Wolverine movie, Wolverine Origins.
I did not see that.
Oh yeah, it's not good. Don't do it.
I haven't seen
Don't do
either
it.
of
It's
the
so
Wolverine solo movies.
Logan is very good.
I've seen Logan. I mean,
okay.
there's Wolverine Origins and then just the Wolverine.
Yeah.
I have not seen either of those.
The best part about the Wolverine is the deleted scene that they didn't put in the movie, where he gets his yellow costume.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But not to speak too out of school, but I do know some folks who have worked with Games Workshop in their entertainment division as they were developing things for Warhammer TV. And apparently there are several folks over at Games Workshop who are not the easiest to work with.
Uh-huh.
And I could see them being a real challenge, as described for Mr. Cavill and his producing partner.
Are these people who are in charge of the franchise as a whole, or
their job involves licensing and approvals?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Apparently they have some very strong opinions about how things are supposed to work, regardless of what that means for...
Their job is to defend and protect the brand.
No.
No?
No.
Oh.
You'd think that's what it would be.
Licensing and approvals. That sounds like that's what that is. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's
your
not
job
what,
is to make sure that somebody doesn't come in and
It's not really what they do. What they do is they end up trying to protect the IP for 14-year-old boys. So if you've got a challenging idea, or maybe you don't want your hero to be a male, there's going to be some significant pushback. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But again, this is secondary knowledge, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But I do have concerns based on what I have heard coming out of Nottingham. So we will see. We will see. I've got high hopes that the cult of personality that is Henry Cavill will be able to, because he's quite a gentleman when he tells you to fuck off. So I'm hoping that he will use those power. Oh yeah, he's strong. He's strong. There's a video of him going around right now where he's basically telling toxic fandom to be like, you got to relax.
Loosen up. Relax. Except for life and death matters, nothing is as important as it first seems.
Just chill. Yeah. Okay. But he's very polite. He's very polite when he tells you to sit down. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. James Gunn is in charge of that now.
Yeah.
The new DC direction. James Gunn, and who's the other guy?
I don't remember his name, but he's the business guy.
Nuts.
He makes sure they get the funding.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gunn is in charge of the story though. So I like what he has done so far with other things, and I haven't seen The Suicide Squad, and I haven't seen Peacemaker. Is that the series with John Cena?
Yes.
I haven't seen either of those yet, but I've heard both are good. So
let me tell you, as another person who really enjoyed them, that first of all, The Suicide Squad is magic. It's magic. It's phenomenal. It's just great. And Peacemaker is also really, really good. Really, really good.
All right.
Really worth the time. And watch them before HBO drops them, because no one can trust what's going to be on HBO.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Yeah,
you have no idea what HBO Max is going to lose next.
I don't think they're going to dump the two best projects made by the guy who's now in charge of the franchise. I don't think they're.
I would not put anything past them. They're going to put like another TLC like home makeover show on HBO Max before they cut anything that has expensive residuals. And they're trying to sell them off to other places. But again,
You got to make room for Jada's cooking show.
I know, right?
Got to make space on the storage servers for Jada.
That actually kind of brings us to the next question, which is, in a world where geeky nostalgia is kind of ruling the airwaves in the movie theaters right now, what's left? Is there anything that's sacred? Is there anything that shouldn't be made into a movie or TV show?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
you could say that about anything, and almost everything that's been made so far. You should have said, yeah, they shouldn't have tried to make a movie out of that, because that didn't come out well.
right.
And people were saying that about The Last of Us. They're like, why are you going to try to make a TV show out of this? And it's turned out beautifully.
Now, see, that one seemed
So
intuitive to me because The Last of Us played like a movie as a game.
It was a very cinematic experience. Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
But you've got every fan base has a double-digit percentage of the population that will die on the hill of, you should never make this into anything other than what it is exactly. This is all I have in life, so I keep this close to my chest. I don't touch my baby.
That's kind of upsetting too, because you don't lose the thing that you love. You don't lose it. It's just that
Right.
there's something new. And for example, I'm not a huge fan of many Star Wars films outside of the original trilogy. But other than when I was, an overreacting 20-something, the existence of the prequels does not impact my life.
Correct.
And it did lead to the Clone Wars, which I really, really loved, which I
Okay.
do think enriched my experience with Star Wars.
Okay.
I liked The Force Awakens fine. I am a huge fan of The Last Jedi. I didn't even see Episode 9. You return. Yeah.
Didn't?
No. And it doesn't bother me that I didn't.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, there is nothing.
How interesting.
Well,
Do you have
I mean,
any intent to see it, or you just feel like, I got enough out of this story that I'm kind of done now?
Well, why watch it when I had the opportunity to read the original script for Episode 9 before J.J. Abrams came on board.
Okay.
That story is very satisfying. That gave everybody a lot to do, and had some very definitive things to say about collective action, which is something I'm a fan of too. And in my head, that's Episode 9.
Okay.
And so I don't need to see somehow Palpatine returned. I don't need to see that.
Right. And guess who's related?
Yeah, like I don't need to see Rey Palpatine. I don't need to see Rey. I mean, I like Rey as a character. I feel like Rey got a disservice in that whole last movie. I think they really undermined all the good work. And one of the things that I really loved about The Last Jedi was it democratized the Force and got it away from being something that was just in the Skywalker line. There were so many Jedi before Anakin Skywalker was born, and there are apparently plenty of Force users after his death. Why do we have to keep on the frickin' Skywalker train? Like, no, there were 6 movies that were all about the Skywalker train. The best thing that ever happened was getting past that. One of the
The kid with the
theme
broom.
wise.
Was that your favorite?
Yes!
Your favorite moment?
Yes, because it meant there were other. The whole thing about what I really enjoyed about The Force Awakens.
What you don't know is that little kid is a illegitimate Luke Skywalker child.
Right.
They don't explain that. That was in the that scene was cut.
Deleted scenes.
Yeah, they cut that.
In the original Force Awakens, what we're seeing is kind of a commentary on modern day stuff, where the First Order is people cosplaying as the Empire and being like, we're going to do it bigger. We're going to do it better. And we see that now. We see that now with folks that are like, no, we're going to do things like we used to do them. And then instead they're just, they're prattling around. And the commander in that movie, who I can't remember his name, the, redhead guy.
Cognitive decline.
Hux.
Yes.
Donald Gleason.
Yes.
Okay.
So Commander Hux is he is the personification of no, we're doing it this way. And people complain about that, but it's like, no, you're missing the point. Of course he's a whiny child. Of course he's a whiny child. He's a whiny child trying to use fascism to bring back this thing. That's the thing. And so it was this really nice progression of, we're going to do something really bad. We made a bigger thing that destroys planets. We're going to destroy so many planets. And then it's like, oh shit, we actually did the planet destroying now. And everybody's really mad at us. So I guess we better fight back. Like, if you wanted an analog for the current political situation in the United States, The Force Awakens is kind of it.
Oh,
then
God,
the democratization. I'm getting comments is what I'm getting.
Well, you're gonna. Okay.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
I'll log in. I'll log in and monitor. But then The Force Awakens democratized the Force, and it gave us an opportunity to grow this universe so much more. And you know what happened after that? We got things like The Mandalorian. And we got these other programs that messed around in other areas of the universe.
Yep. Yeah.
And so we have so much more, and some would say too much, but we have so much more really solid Star Wars stories now that don't rely on having to go to a theater. So much more to enjoy because they expanded that universe. It was just such a bummer to see that get pinned back up because people overreacted to the fandom menace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's so much out there now that I don't even feel like I've seen half of it. I feel like I've seen less than half of what's available. Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Andor.
Andor's really great.
Have
you not seen Andor yet?
No, I haven't seen any.
Oh man, Andor's really, really good.
I don't know, Clone
Really,
Wars
really
is
good.
just one title, but it's like 7 seasons long. That's a lot of content.
Yeah. And Bad Batch is also really good. Yeah, you got options. But we have gone far afield. So I turn to our audience, those of you that are left. And I say to you, how do you feel about when your IP, and I'm using that affectionately, how do you feel when your IP gets turned into a movie or a TV show? Are there some that stand out to you that you really enjoy and you're so excited they got made? And are there others where you're like, this really damaged my relationship with the thing that I love? Tell us about it. Talk about it with us. Let us know in the comments. And for those of you who are going to at me for liking The Last Jedi, come. Your engagement counts. You thumbs down all you want. Read me the riot act. I want all the comments. And that's other tabletop things.
Oh dear.
Oh, this is either going to go really well or really bad. We'll see how it goes. In fact, why don't we just get into what we're hyped about?
No games for old men.
Hey, Dan. What you hyped
Hey,
about?
Curtis. I actually had 3 different options this week, and which is weird because I feel like I'm often struggling to find something applicable.
Right.
This time I had 3 things that I've had had to choose from. So, but the thing that of them that I am most hyped about. In the mid 80s, began a series of interactive novels called Lone Wolf.
Oh,
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Did you play any of them?
Yes.
So for anybody who's not familiar, they were like they were all sort of choose your own adventure,
But also roleplay.
but solo role playing Dungeons and Dragons fantasy adventure kind of thing where you would encounter a monster and you'd have to actually fight it like you would in Dungeons and Dragons. Like you had to like roll to hit and do damage to it, and it would do damage to you. And if you died, then your story was over, and you could start at the beginning. And unless you're like everybody who ever read a Choose Your Own Adventure book, and you just keep your finger in the page that you're turning from, so in case you have to go back. Anyhow, that series, I played many of them. Like a dozen or more, probably. I was really into that series when I was a kid. And it got to be about 30 plus books long.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Series. It's coming back. The author, Joe Deaver, he passed away in 2016, but he gave his notes to his son, Ben, who is working on finishing the last books. And so I guess to prepare for that, a company called Homeguard Press in England is I think they're in England, is reprinting the whole series, it seems like, in these what they're calling definitive editions, which are they've got, I guess, newly edited text if there was something that was maybe unclear or outright wrong. I don't know. I don't remember anything like that happening, but I think new artwork. There are hardcover editions available now. £25 for a hardcover in England, or £7.99 in the UK. Here in the US, the hardcovers are $30 or $11.99 for the paperback. And from what I saw, BarnesandNoble.com has the first book listed as being available in the US on May 2nd of this year. So it's called Flight from the Dark. And I remember that cover. New covers, new cover design, new cover artwork. But I remember those original Gary Chalk drawings.
They were really cool.
Or artwork. Gary Chalk, again, I mean, we know that name is, he did artwork for Talisman and Hero Quest and like all kinds of stuff. Like you've seen Gary Chalk's work. So I just think it's neat that there's hopefully a new audience of readers / players who will get to experience Lone Wolf, because I haven't seen these books in print in decades.
I'm actually looking up right now to see if I'm remembering the name of the book that I played. Demons of the Deep. That's it. Oh, awesome. Okay, you know what? Actually, I thought I had played Lone Wolf, but what I played was Fighting Fantasy, which was the same thing, but it was done by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston, and I think that's the Steve Jackson.
The Games Workshop Steve Jackson or the GURPS Steve Jackson? I wonder.
It is GURPS Steve Jackson.
Oh. Wow, how interesting. I didn't know that there was anything else like it. I thought it was not necessarily unique, but at the time, that time in my life, I was a kid, so I didn't know any better. But
oh, I take it back. This is a third Steve Jackson.
Really? Oh.
I am a poet, novelist, and playwright. I have been writing since junior high. Wow.
So there are now 3 Steve Jacksons in gaming.
Apparently he only did this one book. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna see the cover, and man, it is
So
a thing.
that's what you read
That's what
slash
I read and
played.
played. But I am very familiar with the Lone Wolf books. I always
Yeah.
thought this was one.
Mm. Okay. Well, coming in May in the United States, at least, they might already be out in the UK. I don't know. I couldn't really find anything, but in the US, in May 2nd, you'll get to get book 1
That's awesome.
if that's something you want to play. I really enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun, and I think that I often forget about them when people ask me how I got started as a D&D player. And this is it, because this was like solo D&D.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
good step, good foot in the door. So
Yeah.
I had forgotten about them. I often forget about a lot of things. But
And here we'll drop in cognitive decline.
anyhow.
Yep.
Now,
Nice.
what about you? What are you hyped about?
The actual rules for the Adeptus Arbites in Kill Team.
Okay. You've
Yeah.
read them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of cool things you can do. You can collect evidence, and when you collect evidence, it means that you can get people without having to see them. You could send your dog
What?
to go get people.
Get?
Like, you could shoot around corners. You could see people.
Oh,
collecting
God.
evidence.
It's going to be another freaking homunculus
I'm not gonna have them.
Sniper.
I'm not gonna have them to play this time.
gene stealer
But-
guy.
I'm telling you, the team building is gonna be fun. The little squawk box thing that floats around with your leader, it can hold objectives on its own. But my favorite thing, my absolute favorite thing, is that the Arbites can arrest people in the game for victory points. So let's say
What?
I am fighting Eldar Voidsguard. These are Eldari pilots, pirates. You know, we're fast and we're elves and da. I just walk up to you, slap some bracelets on you, and be like, "You're under arrest." That's it. You're done. You're arrested. Can't do anything else.
How do you roll? What's required
It's
to be able to do that?
it's a ploy. It's one of the ploys that you can do. So you have to beat them in combat, and then once they're incapacitated, you can clap a thing on them, and then they're worth victory points at the end as long as you don't die.
As long as you don't die.
Yeah.
You, the Astartes or
The Arbites. Yeah, you've got to have a living Arbites within 6 inches of them.
Well, guess who's going to have to shoot the hostage then?
Right? Well, you can't kill the hostage. They're already incapacitated. Yeah.
Well, shoot to kill.
Shoot to kill.
Frag out, my friend. Whoops! Accidentally threw a grenade right at the feet of my... No.
It's one of the things that, I mean, this is the thing that keeps me excited about Kill Team, is the fact that they've got these really, really fluffy abilities that are possible in the game. And so if you're going to have Judge Dredd space cops storming a ship or a battlefield, being able to walk up to them and be like, "You're under arrest. Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
But, okay, I feel like... All right, so the arrested unit is immediately incapacitated permanently. There's no way to rescue them? Or...
No, they've already been incapacitated. So at that point, arresting them is for extra victory points at the end. So...
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that if you win a round of melee, then you can just immediately arrest. Okay,
No.
So you have to
No.
defeat them.
Yes.
0 hit points,
Yes.
and then you use the ploy to say, instead of
taking them off the table.
Yeah,
and
I'm going
you.
to arrest this one. Okay, so that
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because my other question, or I guess my other
Worry.
statement was going to be there should be a counter to that where the team could try to rescue the arrested individual, and therefore the arresting officer and their suspect would have to make it back to the deployment zone. And
It sounds like somebody just made up a scenario.
and that would count as, yeah, anyway. In order to earn the victory points, you have to actually get the suspect back to the deployment zone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think that sounds like a great idea. I don't think that sounds like season 3 is writing itself right now.
oh jeez.
Anyway,
Huh.
that's what we're hyped about. There you go. It is getting on. We've been on for like an hour and a half.
We really have. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yammered
But,
a long time about
yeah.
other tabletop things.
Oh my God. It's a big section. It's a big section. Anyway, tune in next week for the last episode. Oh, wait. Yeah. Tune in next week for the last episode before we play our game.
Oh boy.
And we'll see what progress we made before we're done. Have a good day, everyone. Keep on gaming. Because that's our tagline.
Is it
No?
now?
I
Is that our-
guess. I'm trying it.
Did
What do
you-
you think?
Mm.
Keep on gaming.
No games.